on today's show, Cooper Flagg is getting better and better. The Mavericks rookie was huge in their win last night over the Portland Trail Blazers. And we do have an update on Anthony Davis's injury and when he might see a return to action. Plus, the latest on the Mavericks GM search. All of that and more right here on today's show. Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. Jeffrey Cooper Sr. Hope everyone enjoyed that dub last night because I know this Mavericks team isn't very good, but it felt really good to get that win. And man, the win was a big part because of Cooper Flagg, and it is getting scary, man. I think this guy is going to be absolutely special, and I know I'm not breaking any news here. We all think Cooper Flagg is going to be special, but last night I really felt like maybe a corner had been turned in the development of Flagg, and we'll get into that here in just a moment, but I'll say this right now. The rest of the league is on notice because this guy is already as good as he is at just 18 years old. He doesn't turn 19 for another month. I mean, it's incredible what he is doing and how good this guy can be. He is absolutely someone that you can build a franchise around. Get us started, though, in today's comment section. How pumped were you for last night's win? I'm not going to lie. I was really pumped watching that game. I know this team's not going to win very many games this year, but that one felt good to get a win there. The Mavericks have been so bad in the clutch all season. I believe they're just now 3-8 after last night's OT win. So I was pumped. I'd put myself at about a 9, but let me know down in the comments how pumped you were for last night's win. Flagg was an absolutely huge part of last night's win in 37 minutes, including overtime. 21 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks, and a steal. 9 of 16 from the field and 1 of 3 from three-point land. And where the stats may not like jump out to you as like, wow, this was an awesome game, but where I really thought Flagg excelled was in the fourth quarter and overtime. He was ultra aggressive, going to the basket, taking on his man, and just using his size to be able to get to the rim basically whenever he wanted. And a guy of his stature is absolutely able to do that. And he really just had the whole basketball experience last night. Like, he really struggled in the first half, and he admitted as such postgame that he had struggled in the first half. And Daniel Gafford talked to him at halftime and was basically like, look, like, let the game come to you. Try not to force so many things and so many opportunities. And that's exactly what happened in the second half. Flagg really let the game come to him, and in the fourth quarter in OT, the ball was in his hands when the game mattered most. So he really felt the entire NBA experience. Like, 48 minutes is a long game, man. So I really like how Cooper Flagg handled last night's game and how he handled the fourth quarter and overtime. And he used his basketball IQ to his advantage. He had this to say after the game on the Trailblazers strategy, where they sat Donovan Clingan in basically the majority of the fourth quarter and OT until Denny Avdia fouled out there late in the game, and then they put Clingan back in. And Flagg saw that mismatch where he's like, yeah, we have to use our size, and he did just that. He really took it to the Portland Trailblazers, whether it was Jeremy Grant guarding him, whether it was Toumani Camara guarding him, whether it was somebody else, Shaedon Sharpe, whoever it was. Flagg used his size, used his shoulders, used his body to get downhill and get into the paint to get himself ample opportunities to make easy shots. And they weren't easy shots that he made, but that's what he did. Now, obviously, you would like him to improve the free throw shooting. You would like him to be more consistent from three-point land. But last night really felt like a coming-of-age game. It's one of those games that every superstar rookie, every rookie that is highly touted comes into the league and really has. And like, it felt like he grew up last night. He really struggled in the first half, and then in the second half, he put it together and he got himself in a position where he could impact the team on both ends of the floor. And he is absolutely doing that, especially in the last 4 games where he's averaging almost 20 points and 7 boards, almost 4 assists a night as well, 2 steals and a block and a half per night. Like, this is a guy who is going to be a true two-way force on both ends of the court. Like, you talk about the prime Paul Georges, the prime Kawhi Leonards of the world. Like, that's what we're going to be talking about Cooper Flagg as maybe in the next 3 or 4 years. Hell, it might even come sooner. Like, we really do have a special talent on our hands, and the entirety of the Mavericks organization right now should be geared toward his timeline. It should not be geared toward Kyrie's timeline, and I love Kyrie. It should not be geared toward Anthony Davis's timeline. It needs to be geared towards Cooper Flagg timeline and figuring out how they can build around him, because I really believe that this guy is going to be a special, special player in the NBA, even if he isn't already. Are you excited about Cooper Flagg and how good he has been playing lately? If you are, hit that thumbs up icon. Every single Mavs fan that is watching today's show should like the video right now, because if you're not excited about Cooper Flagg, what could you possibly be excited about? All right, we got to the good news now, we get to the not so good news. And this is not shocking to anyone, but the Mavericks did issue an Anthony Davis update yesterday where they said he'll be reassessed in 7 to 10 days. So the update is there is no update, and we're going to have to wait until post-Thanksgiving, nearing the end of November, before AD could potentially see a return to action. And I'll just say this, I'm not shocked whatsoever. We'll get into more details here in just a few moments. But before we do that, today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks, where you and I make decisions every single day. But on PrizePicks, making those right decisions can get you paid. Don't miss on any of the action this basketball season on PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. PrizePicks now offers stacks, meaning you can put the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. So, for instance, if you want to pick more on Cooper Flagg points, steals, and blocks, you can do that only on PrizePicks. PrizePicks is also the best place to get in on the basketball action in more than 40 states, including California, Georgia, and Texas. They put their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. PrizePicks now offers Venmo, Apple Pay, and Cash App for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. I do have a Monday Night Football projection, the Cowboys and the Raiders on Monday Night Football tonight. I'm going to take the more on Brock Bowers receiving yards there, and I'm also going to take the more on Javonte Williams rushing yards. Little 2-player projection there for you guys. You can copy my picks or make picks of your own. Just please make sure you do it with our friends over at PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 on lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. One more time, download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 on lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. So let's just set the stage here and reset the table. The Mavericks initially ruled out Anthony Davis for 2 games, heading into that game in Mexico City on November 1st, and then the following game against whoever they played. I can't even remember at this point. And I tweeted this out. I go, it'll go from cautious approach to out to 2 weeks to out indefinitely and no timeline. Well, I was pretty close to being right, because while there is a timeline, there really isn't a timeline, where they said 7 to 10 days before Davis gets reassessed. And those 7 to 10 days will make it about 26, 27 days before Anthony Davis, at minimum, steps on a basketball court again. And it frankly could be much longer than that. We just knew that this was how this was going to go. Davis originally gets ruled out with that calf soreness or leg soreness, whatever they called it. They called it lower left leg soreness. That was the nomenclature that the Mavericks used there. And now he's going to be out for at least 4 weeks. And I said at the time I'd be shocked if he played in the month of November. And here we are sitting on November 17th, and he's not going to play until at minimum like November 25th. It's just not surprising when it comes to Anthony Davis. Nothing shocks me at this point when it comes to this guy. And yeah, I do want to say this. He's going to miss 14 straight games with the Mavericks. And I understand the cautious approach here from ownership. And I understand the cautious approach from the medical staff. This is not me clowning the Mavericks for having AD miss games. No, I understand that, because if AD comes back and tears his Achilles, he has 0 trade value. The Mavericks are stuck with him for the next 2.5 seasons, and there's just no way out of it from there. They need AD to be 100% healthy before he steps back on the court. And ideally, Davis plays well, rebuild some of that value, and you can trade him at the deadline for picks and other assets that you might be able to acquire. So I fully understand why the Mavs are taking this maybe even overly cautious approach. I mean, it's overly cautious to the point where Mavericks owner Patrick Dumont is asking for the medical update to give the green light for AD to get back to basketball activities. So I understand where the Mavs are coming from. It's just unbelievably frustrating that AD has played 5 games this season, is going to miss at least 14 games. And it's just the story of his career, and why, again, the trade made absolutely 0 sense, but we don't need to harp on that since that guy's already out of here. I want you guys to take a guess for me, though, down in the comments. Will AD play in the month of November? We know he's going to miss the next 5 games at least. I believe there would be 3 more games in November after that. I'm going to say no. I don't think he will. I don't think you'll see him until the clock strikes December here on the 2026 calendar year. But type Y for yes, type M for no. Let me know what you think down there in the comments. And before we get out of here today, just the latest on the Mavericks GM search. And it's very early in the process, so just take all these with a grain of salt. But Mark Stein came out with a couple of reports on some top potential Dallas Mavericks GM candidates. And he did mention that Bob Myers is not going to be an option for the Dallas Mavericks, as he is fully ingrained as the president of Harrison Blitzer Sports Enterprises, which is the company that owns the Sixers, the Commanders, and among other New Jersey Devils as well, among other sports entities there. So Myers not going to be an option for the Mavericks, but it was reported that he will be sort of a sounding board and a consultant without being on the books, essentially, to Mavericks CEO Rick Welts, who obviously knows Myers well from his time in Golden State with the Warriors as they work together. So Myers, while will be someone that maybe gives the Mavericks some ideas and is used as like a sounding board and opinion guy, and he'll give his opinion on where the Mavericks should go, he will not be involved in the decision-making process for the Dallas Mavericks, and he won't be the next GM. But Stein did say that Dennis Lindsey would be interested if approached by the Mavericks for their GM candidacy. We all know about Dennis Lindsey by now. We've talked about him multiple times on the channel. He was a consultant for the Mavericks, or advisor, for the Mavericks during the 23-24 season when they made the NBA Finals. Longtime GM of the Utah Jazz, assistant GM of the San Antonio Spurs, and is now the second in command in Detroit with the Pistons. I believe at this point in time, Lindsey is the top candidate for the Mavericks, and of course, there can be other people who come in the pipeline and emerge as potential candidates as well. But as we sit here in the middle of November, I would say Dennis Lindsey is by far the front runner to be the next Mavericks general manager. That's not to say they're going to hire him in the next couple of months. Mavs may wait until the offseason to hire a permanent GM. But that's where I see things standing right now, with Dennis Lindsey being the potential next GM of the Mavericks. And I do think that this would be a good outcome for all involved. I think he's a good GM, and I think he would bring this franchise and lead this franchise in the right direction. So that's the latest on the Mavs GM updates. And of course, if anything happens, you will find out right here on the channel. So hit that subscribe button at youtube.com/MavsTV, as well as you covered with all of the latest Mavericks news and rumors all throughout the 25-26 NBA season.